Unmissable at News 9. I'm Nabila Jamal. As always, I'm going to take you through news from India and across the globe. Our top story on the day tonight, big twist in the Bengaluru assault case on Wing Commander. CCTV footage shows the Wing Commander could have been the aggressor. A lot more in our deep dive segment. A marriage ultimately that lasted for over 4 decades landed in murder. The wife seems to have killed the former DG of Karnataka, and reports suggest she could be schizophrenic. But there's a lot more detail to that story. We're going to take you through that news. And finally, on our Viral Watch segment, we're taking you through this groom in Jammu and Kashmir having to walk miles to reach his wedding venue due to the landslides that hit RAMBAN. A lot more as always. The headlines first. US Vice President J.D. Vance meets Prime Minister Narendra Modi at his residence. And here you have visuals here of Karnataka assault case that takes a dramatic turn. In fact, we're looking at the man who's beating up that biker happens to be the Wing Commander himself. Wife arrested for the murder of former Karnataka DGP Om Prakash. Investigation officially handed over to the Central Crime Branch, the CCTV. News 9 brings you a lot more exclusive details. ED's big action in Mahadev online betting app case. The ED raids several locations in India. Property worth more than 573 crores has been frozen. Over 50 cases heard by Justice Yashwant Verma from 2013 to 2025 to be heard afresh, says Delhi High Court. Eight Naxals, including one with bounty of 1 crore rupees, killed in Jharkhand encounter. Jharkhand DGP says Maoist squads in North Chota Nagpur region have been wiped out. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin targets the centre over NEP, cites Fadnavis to question if the NEP actually makes a third language compulsory. And heatwave conditions in north-central India until the 26th of April. Delhi temperatures crossed 40 degrees Celsius. The BJP government has launched heat and an action plan that's been formulated to tackle rising temperatures. Pope Francis passes away. World leaders paying tributes. Prime Minister Modi says his affection for the people of India will always be cherished. All right, let me take you through this big story that's shaken the country. The country rallied behind an official from the armed forces. But CCTV tells another story. This morning, India woke up to a video that shook the conscience of many of us. A man, bleeding, shaken, claiming to be a wing commander. He said that he was assaulted on the streets of Bengaluru for no fault of his. This is the man on our screens here, all bloody. In fact, he said he was driving on the road very peacefully towards the airport, did nothing wrong when a man tried to cut off his route and abused him in Kannada, and because he did not speak in Kannada and he was largely speaking in Hindi, that could have invited attack. Now, the wing commander claimed that he was attacked by a local. He said that this happened in the center of Bengaluru, heart of Bengaluru. Can't imagine that an officer who protects the country could be attacked in such a fashion. Of course, outrage poured in, sympathy followed, because when someone who serves the country says that he was attacked, we believe him. We feel for him, we rally behind him. But now, shocking CCTV footage has been accessed that flips the entire narrative here. The man who claims to be the victim turns out was the aggressor. Here's a look. We see the wing commander who's literally slamming that biker despite many locals there trying to stop him. He seems to be brutally assaulting him. In fact, the incident happened at around 6:30 a.m. near Gopalan Mall on Old Madras Road in Baipanahalli. He was reportedly on his way to the airport, flying to Kolkata to admit his ailing father. The biker allegedly came in from the opposite direction, triggered a verbal spat. Both of them got into an argument, and that seems to have escalated to such an extent. In fact, the biker, we hear, hurled some verbal abuses, and that started that street argument, eventually turned into a full-blown assault. And it was the wing commander, as per the CCTV, who attacked first. He's seen chasing the biker down, punching and kicking him. Even after the initial fight had de-escalated, he started the second round of attack. Locals tried to stop him. He did not stop. And this after he posted a video blaming the entire clash on a language issue. Not explicitly saying it, but hinting at the fact that these men spoke in Kannada and assaulted me. Listen in.
I'm right now in the airport. You must be knowing what has happened in the morning. So I'll just narrate the entire incident so that everything is clear. So in the morning, I had a flight to catch. I'm going to Calcutta today for admitting my father to hospital. And he has some surgery to be done. So my wife Madhumita was driving me at around morning 6:30 to drop me to the bus stop. And near Gopalan Grand Mall, just near C.V. Raman Nagar, suddenly from the right one bike comes and stops in front of a car. So I'll share the dashcam video also, and it will be available in CCTV. He comes in front of a car, parks his bike, and thereafter, wearing a helmet, keys in his hand, comes in front of a car and starts saying, "You DRDO people," and something in Kannada. So my wife was driving, so he saw that and came towards my side. And then started arguing, and suddenly, all of a sudden, he punched me with his key. I didn't realize what had happened. I tried to open the door and come outside. I threw him away, and thereafter, just to exit from the area, I rushed to the bike, took the bike and threw it away on the side, and was coming back to the car just to sit and exit the area. And suddenly he came with something and started hitting me again. Finally, he was taking a stone and trying to break the glass of my car. I stopped him. Using the same stone, he hit me on my head.
Well, that was Shiladitya Ghosh, the wing commander, who claims that he and his wife were attacked for no fault of theirs. In fact, Baipanahalli police are currently investigating the matter, and this CCTV footage has been extensively scrutinized. As we see there, Shiladitya Bose, the wing commander, who is seen aggressively assaulting the biker. There may have very well been true that the biker tried to cross his way or path. He may have been coming from the wrong direction. But what started as a verbal fight went on, escalated to physical assault. And we see the wing commander there initiating the attack, the physical attack. In fact, the cops there say that the fight began as a mutual scuffle, but it was the man who re-engaged and reignited the violence, blaming it on the wing commander largely. Listen in.
I would like to make it very clear. I want to go on record. This is not a case related to any language or region. It's very clear from the facts we have collected and the evidence we have collected from the morning. It is a clear-cut case of road rage, which we see every day in Bangalore. 3 to 4 complaints we receive in Bangalore city, which could have been avoided by both of them. Madhumita Das was driving, so this guy was coming in the opposite direction, so which with overspeeding, so which was questioned by this lady officer, and which was objected by that guy. That was a root cause. So that's how he has got out of the car, and both of them have got into the physical fight.
Now here's the tough question. Does claiming to be part of the armed forces earn you a free pass? Does it give you the right to twist facts, unleash violence, and then hide behind patriotism? Well, this is not an attack on the armed forces. This is about accountability. Even when the person in question wears the badge of service, he or she is accountable. Respect for the uniform is certainly earned, not assumed, and the truth always finds its way out. Now, in a crime that's left Bengaluru, Karnataka shaken, in fact, the entire country, the police fraternity are shocked with the death and the way brutal murder and death of former DG of Karnataka, Om Prakash, was discovered. Now, let me take you through details of this brutal killing. The brutal murder took place at their upscale home in HSR layout. Om Prakash, who was once Karnataka's DG and IGP, was allegedly stabbed to death by his wife Pallavi following a heated argument during lunchtime. His bloodied body was found on the ground floor of their three-story building on Sunday evening, 4 p.m. According to police, Pallavi allegedly threw chili powder at Om Prakash while they were having lunch before launching the fatal attack. In fact, the knife has been recovered as well, the one that she used to stab him. These are, of course, details as per the police investigation. A lot more details that yet need to be unearthed. But spine-chilling allegations that tumble out with Pallavi now claiming to be receiving treatment for schizophrenia. In fact, this is what we hear as per official investigation, that for nearly a decade she's been receiving treatment for schizophrenia, and this has raised a lot more concerns in the investigation process itself. Now, we hear that Pallavi, the accused in the case, who's Om Prakash's wife, had just a few weeks ago put out messages, SOS messages on WhatsApp groups of police officers' wives. In fact, this is a group of all officers' wives. On that group, she says that Om Prakash, her husband, has been physically and mentally abusing her. She alleges on that group that he roamed around their home with a pistol and even claimed that he tried to drug their daughter. These are big claims that she's made on a group where all the police officers' wives are present. In fact, they knew that there was something off and something wrong, but were not sure how deep or intense this case is. Now, just days before the murder, she posted messages alleging that he was trying to kill her and that he had links with the PFI, asked for the matter to in fact be escalated to NSA's Ajit Doval as well. This is Om Prakash's own wife who's been flagging off the alleged behavior of Om Prakash. Now, we're not too sure if the wife was saying the truth or not. Well, Om Prakash has died. We can't get his version, but it's for the police to investigate if her details, the messages that she put out on her groups are true at all, and if this was indeed a matter of self-defense. Nonetheless, she's been also receiving treatment for schizophrenia, so this makes this case itself a lot more intense and murkier. She's urged authorities in the past as well to take suo motu action against her husband because he's unruly and always threatening the family, holding a gun and walking around the house trying to instill fear in the family. That's what she claimed in the past. She did send out several SOS messages before this final day.
We have got the PM done. We have handed over the body to the son. We have taken to the HSR ground for the formalities. And please come, sir is there. Sir will give you all the details. Come, we are investigating it. We are investigating it.
In fact, Pallavi herself called the control room and confessed. After the murder, she called the control room and said, "I have committed this murder. Please come over." Now, their son has made a startling claim. He, in fact, says both his mother and his sister have been battling depression, and that could have played a role in this attack. Now, again, police to investigate whether Pallavi, who sent out many messages on the groups, the police groups that claim that she was physically tortured and mentally tortured by her husband, is true or false, and whether her attack on him was an attack of self-defense. Investigators, in fact, right now suspect also a property dispute that could have escalated the matter. Pallavi was reportedly upset that her husband Om Prakash had transferred a property to his sibling instead of his daughter. Now, well, we've lost a decorated officer, at least the time that he served as Karnataka's top cop. He did have a lot of honor and respect. In fact, his life has ended in quite a horrifying domestic spiral in a tragic case where a lot is now coming out of the closet. Really murky case that seems to be right now keeping the entire Karnataka police fraternity busy and in pain.
Director General of Police, Shri Jai Prakash, Om Prakash, has been murdered. They say by his own wife, but the investigation is on. Until and unless we get the investigation report, we cannot conclude anything. The investigation is on. They are looking at various aspects. Once the report is with us, then we can say how the murder is being done and so on.
Jammu and Kashmir wakes up to heartbreak. In fact, what we saw right this morning, visuals coming in of cloudbursts that turned into quite a nightmare for people in J&K. It unleashed flash floods, landslides and sheer devastation across the region. 3 lives were lost, including 2 children in Sera Bagna village alone. Over 200 homes were wrecked, 100 rescued, vehicles tossed away like toys in villages like Seri Bagna and Dharamkund. Jammu and Kashmir National Highway lifeline to the valley is currently in tatters, blocked at more than a dozen spots between Nashri and Banihal, leaving hundreds stranded. Schools, colleges, technical institutes across Jammu and Kashmir have been shut for April 21st as a safety measure. But amid all this chaos, some Mormons still find a way out. A wedding procession groom seen walking miles through all the muck and debris after being cut off on the highway itself. Basically trying to catch his wedding party but wasn't able to catch it in time. In fact, this is a sorry affair right now that transpires in Ramban. Rescue teams, police, SDRF, army and locals continue to battle the odds, clearing rubble and saving lives, with rain refusing to let up as an orange alert now has been put in place. Authorities are urging everyone to stay indoors until urgent. Jammu reels and skies really showing no mercy.
यहाँ पे पुलिस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, सिविल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, एनडीआरएफ, एसडीआरएफ सारे मिलके और सिविल क्यूआरटीज हमारी जो हैं, जो पुलिस के साथ एसोसिएशन है उनका, सिविल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के साथ एसोसिएशन है। उसके अलावा बहुत खुशी की बात यह है कि सिविल लोग भी हमारे साथ मिलके काम कर रहे हैं। वो ये नहीं देख रहे हैं कि कौन है, सभी लोग मिलके जॉइंट एफर्ट्स यहाँ पे लगा रहे हैं। और जिस तरह से दिन को सब ठीक लग रहा था कि अब मौसम ठीक हो जाएगा और हमारा रेस्टोरेशन वर्क जो है काफी प्रोग्रेस पड़े, और शाम तक हम कई जगहों पे हम क्लियरेंस भी कर चुके थे। लेकिन अभी आप सामने देख रहे हैं बारिश दोबारा से शुरू हो गई है, तो हमारा रेस्टोरेशन वर्क में थोड़ी सी प्रॉब्लम आ रही है। लेकिन मुझे लगता है सुबह तक हम कुछ, अगर मौसम ठीक रहा तो इस वर्क को दोबारा से तेजी लाएंगे।
श्रीनगर जम्मू का हाईवे बंद है, मुगल रोड फिलहाल खुला है। मुगल रोड के जरिए अगर जरूरत पड़े तो हम सामान ला सकते हैं, लेकिन आज भी है कि 1-2 दिन के अंदर अंदर कम से कम 1 वे ट्रैफिक के लिए हम हाईवे रिस्टोर कर लेंगे। मैं अभी आप लोगों से बात करने के बाद मौके पे खुद रामबन जा रहा हूं, वहां पे हालात का जायजा लेने के लिए, अफसरों के साथ मीटिंग करने के लिए, और जो भी वहां पे हमें हिदायत देनी होगी हम दे देंगे।
देखिए, ये तो जिसको त्रासदी कहते हैं, मतलब कि मेरे जीवन काल में तो हमने इस किस्म की भयानक त्रासदी कभी देखी नहीं। और न सिर्फ मतलब लॉस ऑफ लाइफ्स का भी बड़ा हमें दुख है, क्योंकि चलो प्रॉपर्टी जो है वो बनती रहती है, लेकिन जिस किस्म से लोगों की जानें गई हैं, मासूम लोगों की जानें गई हैं, और आगे कुदरत के आगे हम कोई बेबस थे। हमारा अभी जो डिप्टी सीएम साहब उमर साहब की डायरेक्शन पर उनको रामबन उनका दौरा था, तो उनका भी यही कहना था कि पहले फर्स्ट हैंड सिचुएशन का असेसमेंट करते हैं, उसके बाद जो रिपोर्ट सरकार को पेश की जाएगी, और इसको जो है एक क्लेमिटी जब डिक्लेयर किया जाएगा, ताकि रामबन को जितनी भी जो नुकसान हुआ है उसको रिस्ट्रक्चर करने के लिए, इसका जितना भी नुकसान है लोगों की भरपाई तो नहीं हो पाएगी, लेकिन कुछ न कुछ जो है जब तभी मिलेगा जब क्लेमिटी डिक्लेयर होगा।
देखिए, ये तो दुर्भाग्य है कि इस प्रकार की घटना घटी है, और रामबन का कोई भी क्षेत्र ऐसा बचा नहीं है जहां पे इस प्रकार का फ्लड नहीं आया है। कुछ न कुछ नुकसान तो हर जगह है। पक्ष की भूमिका के नाते तो हम स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से तो इनके लिए डिमांड करेंगे कि इनको कंपनसेशन, मैं तो कहता हूँ 2 गुना 3 गुना ज़्यादा मिलनी चाहिए। जिस प्रकार से इनका नुकसान हुआ है, डिमांड करेंगे और भारत सरकार भी पूरी मदद करेगी इसमें।
All right, now a terror plot that's hidden in plain sight that unfolded in Bengal's Murshidabad. For over 3 months, rooftops in Murshidabad doubled up as makeshift terror hubs behind the smokescreen of local unrest. Investigators say Bangladeshi militants had crossed into Indian territory, quietly training men to assemble hand grenades. Those are the images. The plan here, a coordinated large-scale strike across Samsherganj, Suti and Dulian. What began as a street agitation there, fueled by the ongoing Waqf protests, was in fact a cover for something far more sinister. Authorities say that militants from across the border handpicked local recruits, coaching them in crude bomb making. But this wasn't just about grenades. Evidence suggests over 200 LPG cylinders were stockpiled, sourced through threats and intimidation, with one chilling objective: to unleash mayhem. Cylinders were to be opened, ignited and used to blow up police stations, railway roads and government offices. There was, and of course the question is, where was this hidden arsenal? On rooftops, we hear, in plain sight, all glass bottles, railway stones, grenades and explosives stashed above unsuspecting homes. Forensic teams now confirm that many feared this was no amateur job, a thoroughly pre-planned one. Blasts caused by these grenades were too powerful to be locally made. The damage tells the story. Walls had caved in, roofs had torn apart, entire homes were destabilized. Investigators now suspect the hand of Ansarullah Bangla team, ABT, a splinter group of the band Jamaatul Mujahideen Bangladesh. In fact, they believe the main strike was scheduled for April 11th, with a dry run executed on April 9th when the national highway was blocked. And here's the twist. Most attackers weren't even locals. Many were illegal Bangladeshi immigrants. Others came from Pakur in Jharkhand and Kishanganj in Bihar. A terror network planted across borders using local dissent as disguise. Murshidabad may have just escaped something far worse.
देखिए, मुर्शिदाबाद में जो हुआ है या जो कराया गया है, मुझे लगता है कि एक सोची समझी राजनीति या सोची समझी साजिश के तहत है। ये इंसानी जिंदगी से खेला जा रहा है। ये भी सच है, इसको दबाया जा रहा है क्योंकि हम साफ हिंदी भाषा, वहां लोग बंगाली भाषा वाले ज्यादा है रहते हैं और जो लोग पकड़ेंगे वो बहुत साफ भाषा में, उनको बंगाली भी नहीं आती और वो लोग पकड़े गए। तो क्या इसके पहले साजिश नहीं तो क्या कहूं कि ये जो है कहीं बाहर से लाया गया लोगों को या बाहर से बुलाया गया लोगों को या बाहर से आए हैं लोग, ये इस जघन्य कांड में शामिल होने, उनको शामिल कराया गया है। ये बहुत दुखदायक है, बहुत चिंताजनक है।
Several this type of incident happened that day, and not only so, they have been taken on gunpoint and they have been pressurized to chant Allahu Akbar. The Hindu women, they have been pressurized to chant Allahu Akbar. So this was the situation under Mamata Banerjee's regime. And this will be the future of the other Hindus, those are staying in the Kolkata and the other part and thinking that everything is okay. Only the Murshidabad there is some problem. Problem is in the DNA.
Shifting our focus to Rahul Gandhi. Abroad again and once more stirring a very similar controversy. Rahul Gandhi has reignited the debate over India's democratic institutions, this time from Boston. Addressing of the Indian diaspora there, the Congress leader alleged that Election Commission is compromised and cast serious doubts. He in fact basically went on to say that there is no faith that he has on the credibility of the recently held Maharashtra Assembly elections and its data. Let's listen in. He claimed that more people had voted than the actual number of adult residents. And when Congress asked for videographic proof of the Election Commission, not only did they decline it, but also now allegedly brought in a new law to deny such access in the future. Listen in.
In simple terms, more people voted in the Maharashtra Assembly elections than there are adults in Maharashtra. The Election Commission gave us a figure, voting figure for 5:30 in the evening. And between 5:30 in the evening and 7:30 in the evening, when the polls were supposed to have closed, 65 lakh voters voted. Now, that is physically impossible to happen, right? Because for a voter to vote, it takes approximately 3 minutes. And if you do the math, it would mean that there were lines of voters till 2 o'clock at night voting all night, and this didn't happen. You have videography taking place, if we ask. They not only refused to give us the videography, they changed the law so that now you're not allowed to ask for the videography. So it's very clear to us that the Election Commission is compromised. It's very clear that there is something very wrong with the system.
All right, now his comments have sparked sharp reactions back home. BJP Sambit Patra has torn into Rahul Gandhi, calling him a traitor on bail, accusing him of defaming India on foreign soil. Patra went on so far as to say Rahul Gandhi will go to jail for this. The Election Commission has repeatedly rejected such claims in the past, terming them unfounded. But with Rahul Gandhi once again questioning the system from an international stage, political heat is back on.
राहुल जी अमेरिका में जाके इलेक्शन कमीशन को कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड बताते हैं। वो कहते हैं कि महाराष्ट्र के चुनाव में जिस प्रकार का मतदान हुआ वो एक तरह से फर्जीवाड़ा था। महाराष्ट्र भारतीय जनता पार्टी को और उनके अलाइज को जीतना नहीं था और कहीं न कहीं इलेक्शन कमीशन ने हमारे साथ समझौता किया। मैं राहुल जी से पूछना चाहता हूं, राहुल जी झारखंड भी तो उसी समय चुनाव हुआ था, क्या आपने इलेक्शन कमीशन के साथ झारखंड में समझौता किया था? आप एक बार सोरेन जी से पूछिए, क्या उन्होंने समझौता किया था इलेक्शन कमीशन से?
Now, a temple and a Gurudwara, both defaced in Canada, but where's the crackdown? There seems to be no intent by the Canadian government to crack down on such elements because this has happened time and again. A Gurudwara in Vancouver, vandalized again. This time it's the Ross Street Gurudwara that was defaced with pro-Khalistani graffiti. It was spray-painted with slogans like Khalistan Zindabad. The act has of course triggered anger and deep concerns within Canada's Sikh and Hindu communities. Condemning the incident, Canadian organizations and MP Chandra Arya has called the extremists well-funded and backed by significant political clout. Now, according to a statement by leaders of the Khalsa Diwan Society Gurudwara, the act was allegedly committed by a small group of Sikh separatists advocating for Khalistan. Police are investigating. Vancouver police spokesperson Steve Addison has confirmed they are looking into this matter, but no arrests have happened yet. But what precisely is a worry here? How do such brazen acts keep happening under the nose of what's supposed to be one of the finest police forces in Canada? Why are there no convictions in the dozens of similar hate crimes that have been reported in recent years? Is there no way to detect who's behind this campaign of intimidation? In fact, on April 19th, Saturday itself, the quote that came in saying that we were shocked to witness act of vandalism at our beloved Ross Street Gurudwara. Small group of Sikh separatists advocating for Khalistan defaced our sacred walls with divisive slogans like Khalistan Zindabad. This act is part of an ongoing campaign by extremist forces that seek to instill fear and division within the Canada Sikh community. Now, the organization has urged Canadians to not let hate win. In fact, they say we call on all Canadians, Sikhs and the people of goodwill to stand together in the face of extremism. We must denounce these acts and reaffirm our shared commitment to the values of peace, unity and respect. This attack is an attack on all of us, on the very unity that makes Canada strong. Let us unite against division and extremism for the future we all share. Remember, just a day later, the Lakshmi Narayan Mandir in Surrey, also in British Columbia, was defaced with similar graffiti. Speaking to the media, temple spokesperson Parshottam says incidents like these might be linked as the at the forefront of efforts to foster Sikh-Hindu harmony. Now, what's fanning this wave of hate? Of course, the question that now prevails is the intent by the Canadian government to crack down on this. Why doesn't Canada really show the way and bring those responsible to book? If they have the best police force, then enough is enough. They should.
These were rather upset and, were frustrated that they felt like no one was speaking out. And vandalism like this keeps happening. I want to point out it wasn't the only, temple vandalized last night. There was also a Gurudwara in Vancouver that was vandalized by Khalistanis, or people who clearly were parroting the Khalistani rhetoric.
This is really a referendum about who can deal with the new United States with the Trump challenge. So while it's good to have a conversation about the micro detailing of the ridings where some of these guys have an extra influence, they have a certain capture, the pro-Khalistani elements, this election is not about them.
Now, in a significant diplomatic engagement, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has held bilateral talks with Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance. In fact, these are visuals that have just come in where Prime Minister Modi has met with J.D. Vance and his family at Prime Minister Modi's official residence in Delhi. Discussions were understood to have focused on early finalization of a proposed bilateral trade pact, along with ways to deepen India-US strategic ties. Trade and tariffs were also top of the agenda, we hear, especially in light of the past US policies and tariffs that Trump has slapped on many countries, including India. So there was a communication with that regard as well, we hear, but that's very adorable visuals there of Prime Minister Modi interacting with 3 of J.D. Vance's kids. Of course, his wife, Usha Vance, is of Indian origin. The 3 lovely kids there dressed up in all Indian, interacting with the Prime Minister at his home. VP Vance of the United States arrived with his wife and 3 children, spent that warm evening with the Prime Minister before the formal talks began. The 2 sides are believed to have exchanged views on key regional and global issues of mutual interest. A formal dinner is also lined up. In fact, as I speak, that could be happening very well. We don't have visuals for the inside dinner, but these are beautiful visuals that shows Vance and his family who kicked off their India sojourn, visiting Jaipur, Agra and some iconic landmarks like the Taj Mahal and the Rambagh Palace. This visit set against the backdrop of shifting global trade. Right now, the equations between United States and India seems to be great, but yet the tariffs haven't boded well with any of us. This meeting certainly is supposed to set a statement. Hopefully, it grows stronger with the United States. Diplomatic ties have always been good. And with this meeting, we're really hoping that there could be economic cooperation as well. Not just friendship, but trade deals and tariffs could be easy on India. Now, Pope Francis, unfortunately, has died. The news that came in late afternoon today that really sent shockwaves. In fact, Pope Francis, history's first Latin American pontiff, passed away this morning at the age of 88. He was loved globally for his humility, his deep concern for the poor. Francis is also quoted controversy time and again for his bold critiques of capitalism and urgent climate warnings. But nonetheless, he was one of the most revered popes, where he spoke about people having to be free to choose their religion. Coming from a pope was big. He did speak about people should be tolerant, that you should be tolerant of different religions, and you should be free, speak your mind, and that should be accepted. There should be no room for hate. So really a forward-thinking pope. Unfortunately lost his life. He had multiple health issues for the last few years, but in the recent past, he was admitted for acute bronchitis, and that could have led to his demise. Let's take a look.
Pope Francis has died aged 88, the Vatican said on Monday.
It is with profound sadness I must announce the death of our Holy Father Francis.
Francis was the first Latin American leader of the Roman Catholic Church. He had suffered a serious bout of double pneumonia this year, which left him hospitalised for 38 days. But his death came as a shock after he had been driven around St. Peter's Square in an open-air popemobile to greet cheering crowds a day before on Easter Sunday. It was his first prolonged public appearance since being discharged from Rome's hospital on March 23rd. Jorge Mario Bergoglio was elected Pope on March 13th, 2013. He became a global superstar, drawing huge crowds on his many foreign travels as he tirelessly promoted interfaith dialogue and peace, taking the side of the marginalised. World leaders paid tribute to Francis, praising his worldwide church and offering condolences to the world's 1.4 billion Catholics. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni mourned the departure of a, quote, great man, a great shepherd. At the Vatican, tourists and pilgrims visiting for Easter expressed their shock and grief.
It's a great disappointment, a great loss. A man who has innovated the church and a man who has left a great mark. And this, his absence, causes great pain.
I live in Milan and I'm here for Easter. And I find it very significant that the Pope has died during Easter or the Easter weekend. I'm from Argentina. The Pope is Argentinian, so it has quite a bit of significance for us.
Francis appointed nearly 80% of the cardinal electors who will choose the next pope.
Now, of course, a lot of questions being asked as to who might succeed Pope Francis. As the church looks to its future now, several names are emerging as possible successors. Among them are France's Jean-Marc Aveline, known for his progressive voice, Hungary's Peter Erdo, a conservative favourite, and Malta's Mario Grech, a key Vatican reformer. Also Spain's Juan Jose Omella, Italy's Matteo Zuppi, Ghana's Peter Turkson, and the Philippines' Luis Antonio Tagle are all in contention. These are faces that could be likely succeeding Pope Francis, but certainly a void that will remain, considering the man was indeed revered for his progressive views and values. Rest in peace. Thanks very much for tuning in. Slip into a short break. We're coming back with our deep dive segment where we're taking you through news on Karnataka's former DGP who was brutally murdered. Lots of questions being raised on his wife's role in the murder. She had schizophrenia. Could that be the reason that drove her, or was it something more? Stay with us.
I need expert performance. I need my career.
Smash your way to glory at the News 9 Corporate Badminton Championship. Get ready for the ultimate badminton showdown. News 9 presents the biggest corporate championship, a battle of skill, speed and supremacy. Cash prize of 6 lakh rupees across categories. Venue, Pulela Gopichand Badminton Academy, Hyderabad. Dates, May 9th to May 11th. A chance to showcase your talent and make a mark. The court is set. Are you ready? Register now.
Presenting sponsor, Srinidhi University. Kindle the light within. Venue partner, Pulela Gopichand Badminton Academy, Hyderabad.
Sir, your party got 99 seats. You have government in Himachal Pradesh. You have government in Telangana. You are in partnership in Jharkhand. You have government in Karnataka. Isn't it a bit rich that the state where you lose, election commission has no credibility and neutrality, and the state where you form the government, they perform a good job, sir?
So Karthike, if we are saying that election commission is compromised or the elections are manipulated, to say this thing, we have to first lose elections everywhere. This is what the narrative has been floated, because you have one Jharkhand, you have one Himachal, Karnataka or Telangana. Therefore, now you cannot talk about how 65 lakh voters have been added in Maharashtra after 5:30 p.m. One, you cannot say how in 5 months from June 2024 to November 24, the same number of voters, 40 or 44 lakh, have been added, which were added in past 5 years from 19 to 24. Third, we cannot say this, to question this, we cannot say this, because a policeman has come and said, and he's showing his mobile phone about the payments, and he's saying that 10 lakh rupees were paid to me to change the EVMs, Where is he? Cases being filed against him. So all these questions we are asking. And one more thing, the number of adults which are living in Maharashtra, have actually outnumbered, number of voters have outnumbered the number of living adults in Maharashtra.
Welcome back. Karnataka's former DG, a decorated officer, Om Prakash, was murdered, found in a pool of blood at his home, and the suspect is his wife, Pallavi. According to the Additional Commissioner of the Police, Vikas Kumar, says the motive behind the crime is yet not clear, but the police are questioning the former DGP's daughter, Kirti, along with his wife, of course. Both of them who were at home at that point when the stabbing happened. In fact, the daughter was in the floor above while the parents were below. This is the sketchy details that we have currently. 68-year-old officer Om Prakash. He hailed from Bihar's Champaran district, had quite a distinguished career in Karnataka police force, was stabbed to death. Murder weapon was recovered, which was a knife. In fact, shocking details claim that Pallavi herself confessed to the crime. She called in the police and said, I've murdered my husband. Basically called her friend first and said, I've killed a monster. Then the message went to the police. She confessed that I've committed the murder. You can come in to this house. They were at the house that was in fact allotted to them by the police department. He was a retired police officer, a very decorated one, I must say. At least through his career, he had a spotless image. In fact, Pallavi reportedly told the police that Om Prakash had been threatening her. Now remember, Pallavi on her part has many times sent out messages on police groups claiming that her husband Om Prakash has been trying to threaten her and her daughter, saying that they often get into fights and Om Prakash would hold a gun and move around the house trying to instill fear within the family members. Now, sources say Pallavi poured boiling oil on her husband, threw chili powder at him and inflicted multiple stab wounds with both a broken bottle and a knife. This is what initial claims suggest. Forensic analysis reveal injuries to Om Prakash's chest and abdomen consistent with multiple stabbing incidents. In fact, they claim, as per investigation, that Pallavi called the wife of another officer soon after she committed this crime, and her first line to her was, I've killed the monster. That friend then informed the police, and then the police arrived. Well, certainly heartbreaking. Now we're looking at such horrific incidents that are coming to fore, domestic violence turning fatal. Such crimes there, how could it be controlled, if at all it could be? If a situation like this arises and Pallavi has put out messages on groups that had police officers and their wives in it, could there have been early intervention? The big question here is, as much as people say that Pallavi is schizophrenic, she was undergoing treatment for a decade, could this entirely be blamed on her mental health? Was this revenge killing? Joining me to discuss more is Bhaskar Rao, former Commissioner of Police, Bengaluru, also Dr. Rachna Khanna, who's a clinical psychologist and a relationship expert, Brinda Adige, women's rights activist. Sir, Bhaskar Rao, you've been a top cop yourself. What I see here is devastating for the police fraternity. I could imagine what you may be going through. But how do you look at this investigation, sir? We know that the lady was allegedly schizophrenic. But if the husband is no more and the only primary witness here is the accused herself, how can the police really identify or verify her mental health, the motive and the truth behind her claims? The line of investigation.
At the outset, it is a very shocking incident. We are all in total disbelief because we all loved him as a boss and we all took good care of us. But as your pointed question, where you want to know the details of the investigation, it is the Commissioner of Police and the Deputy Commissioner of Police Southeast, under whom the investigation is going on. They are the best judges in this matter. Sometimes when eyewitnesses are not there, circumstantial evidence as well as evidence which are there through technology are utilized to connect the crime and the criminal. This is a very sensational case and police will definitely be very, very cautious in carrying out the investigation. But of course, truth cannot be suppressed.
Yeah.
As a police fraternity, both sir and madam, we are all close as family members. I visited their house several times. They have visited us, and when they were together, they look very congenial. But we are not privy to what happens in the four walls of the house, what their thoughts and what their plans, because they have no business to get into those things. And every family has its own share of discords, dissents, argument, but it gets ultimately ironed out. But this has taken such a ghastly, horrific turn that it has put the entire fraternity. Because Mr. Om Prakash, in police services, we are in touch with about 30 years before we have joined and 30 years after we have joined. This means over a decade of almost half a century of police officers are known to him. They have worked with him. And Mr. Om Prakash is a very professionally sound man, and he had the Babri Masjid incidents in 1992 very well, and then the Bhatkal riots also, as well as the proposed what was a police strike which is going to take place. He created a lot of confidence, and as regards ordinary citizens are concerned, nobody would go back empty-handed from his office. They came with some grievance and they would go out. But what has happened at house, because we also know Pallavi Madam very well, and we have interacted with her, spoken to her, and we watched the children grow, etc. But what has happened, the entire police department shares the grief. But let investigation carry on.
Absolutely.
Because as I rightly said, there is no eyewitness, but circumstantial evidence and technological evidence and the mental condition of ma'am, etc.
Which is why, sir, my question is, there were several red flags that were raised. Pallavi, we hear, has put out several messages on groups which had police officers and their wives claiming that her husband has been physically and mentally torturing her, that he wields a gun and tries to threaten the family. These claims were flagged off months before this murder took place. Why wasn't it taken seriously? I will come to you, but just for the brief moment, if I could bring in the doctor, just for the brief moment, sir. I will come to you on that. But just for the brief moment, our doctor who's on the panel, ma'am, your take on a patient who suffers from schizophrenia. It seems like the reports now, investigative reports, claim that she's been receiving treatment for a decade.